Is being spoken by the Sriti Brahmana. So he is replying now the question which Brahmana asked about his situation, that how he is lying at one place and body is healthy and stout, and how is fat, and how is so happy and satisfied with fat. He was inquiring. And here you can see how Sriti Brahmana tells so many wonderful verses about the fertility of material life. Very nicely explains. So in the very next verse, it talks about how, so I can see the translation. It says, in the human form of life, man and woman unite for the central pleasure of sex. By actual experience, we have observed that none of them are happy. Therefore, seeing the contrary results, I have stopped taking part in materialistic activity. So, and then, so variety of all these verses are talking about how this material sense enjoyment is in the imagination. The next verse is the actual form of life for the living entity is one of spiritual happiness. It is real happiness. This happiness can be achieved only when one stops all materialistic activity. Similar to what grandmother said, if you want to become happy, then one should stop trying to find happiness in this world. The material sense enjoyment is simply materialism. Therefore, in this subject matter, I have ceased from all material activities and I'm lying down here. And then it says how this living entity forgets his real interest and he identifies with the body. And because the body is material and his natural tendency is to be attracted by the varieties of material world. And thus the living entity suffers the miseries of material existence. Just as a deer, because of ignorance, cannot see the water within a well covered by grass, but runs after water elsewhere. The living entity covered by the material body does not see the happiness within himself, but runs after happiness in the material world. The living entity tries to achieve happiness and rid himself of the causes of distress. But because the various bodies of the living entities are under full control of material nature, all his plans in different bodies, one after another, are ultimately baffled. And then he says materialistic activities are filled with three kinds of miserable conditions. Even if one achieves some success by performing such activities, what is the benefit of this success when he is still subjected to birth, old age, disease, and death? And then he says, I'm actually seeing how a rich man who is a victim of his senses is very greedy to accumulate wealth and therefore suffers from insomnia. due to fear from all sides, despite his wealth and opulence. Those who are considered materially powerful and rich are always full of anxieties because of governmental laws, thieves and rogues, enemies, family members, animals, birds, persons seeking charity, the inevitable time factor, and even their own selves. Thus, they are invariably afraid. Those in human society who are intelligent should give up the original cause of lamentation, illusion, fear, anger, attachment, poverty, and unnecessary labor. The original cause of all this is the desire for unnecessary prestige and money. And then he talks the disadvantage of money. So it's very beautiful verses exactly telling about the futility of material existence. And in this current verse today, what we're discussing, the Prabhupada talks about, in essence, material life is pavarga. No? Pa, fa, ba, bha, ma. Explains that beautifully. Pa is parishram, no? Hard labor. So the living entity cannot escape the stringent laws of material nature. So when he doesn't surrender to Krishna, then he has to work very hard. He'll be forced by the material nature to work very, very hard. And so much he has to work hard, Prabhupada said, working hard like an ass, day and night. So much they have to work hard, then there'll be foam mouth. So fena, fa is fena, pa, then fa is fena, then foam comes out. And it's not that after working so hard and foaming at mouth, the living entity is happy. There is no happiness. But what he gets? Disappointment. Vyarthata. So there'll be disappointment then. And then, because of having no shelter of Krishna and being so entangled by all these different varieties of reactions, what he gets of his actions, and so much of uncertainties in life, so he's so fearful also. So having so much of fear, having no shelter of the Lord. So fear. And then what happens? And finally mrityu, like that. So this is how the essence of material life is. Pa, fa, ba, bha, ma. So that's why we follow the path of apavarga. Dharmasya apavargasta nartha arthaya apakalpate. So apavarga is the path of Bhagavad Dharma. So here we work for the pleasure of the Lord. So we engage in devotional service. So when we engage in devotional service, then we are actually following the path of apavarga. So that helps us to come out of this entire entanglement of this material existence. So human form of life is meant for attaining the aim of life. What is that? To go beyond this pavarga and go to Lord, surrender to Krishna. So Prabhupada says towards the end, if one surrenders to Krishna, one may immediately be freed from the control of external nature. Sagunana samati chaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. 25. So as soon as one engages in devotional service, then he can go beyond these three modes. So this whole material world is actually a combination of three modes of material nature, and under the influence of these three modes of material nature, the living entities get trapped in varieties of activities helplessly. And then so many reactions are there. So many reactions are there, good and bad. So because of that, the living entity just remains in this material world only, continues in material existence. So this verse of Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada is quoting that if one engages in devotional service, then one goes beyond these three modes. And as he goes beyond these three modes, then all these material activities are stopped. So there are no more material activities further. Then all these activities are transcendental in nature because all those activities are done in devotional service. This is what Prabhupada has given, the method for going out of this world. So we have to, when we are in this world also, we have to be doing the activities which are not of this world. Meaning, these activities are for the activity what we are doing is actually the activities of the spiritual world only. What are the activities in the spiritual world? The only activity in the spiritual world is service to the Lord. And this whole Krishna consciousness, the Krishna consciousness movement, what Srila Prabhupada has started, is to give the living entity that opportunity to actually do those activities which are the activities of spiritual world. And when we are doing that here in this material world, then we get purified by doing those activities under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And then when we are fully purified, when we are able to attain, the full blossom devotion service to the Lord, then we just simply go to the spiritual world. So Prabhupada also said this is like an apprenticeship. what we are doing, the sadhana bhakti program. So under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, we are performing this Vedi sadhana bhakti, right now. So when we are performing this Vedi sadhana bhakti, under the rules and regulations, the methods what spiritual master has given, we engage. So by having that obedience to spiritual master and engaging in devotional service, we get gradually purified of all these infections created by modes of material nature. And then one can go beyond this material realm and go to the spiritual world like that. So, Prabhupada very nicely explains here that Darwin's theory of evolution from animal to man is incomplete because what it says, the theory does not present the reverse condition, namely evolution from man to animal. So you can see that actually humans have come from monkeys, that is true, but not like the monkeys got transformed and eventually they became humans. So Prabhupada said the evolutionary process is correct. The evolution happens. Like from animals, humans have come, but not like that animal body has become human. So that soul transmigrates from one body to another body. The soul which is there in the animal space of life may eventually comes to the human form of life. So Prabhupada says also that we have been this, horses and cats and dogs and monkeys and all that. That's why we have animalistic propensities. When we are in this human form of life also, we have so many animalistic propensities. So because of that, people engage in a lot of animalistic activities like that. But when we get this human form of life, then we can actually purify these animalistic propensities and can purify by engaging in devotional service. And that's how we can truly evolve ourselves to the real state of life. This is Krishna conscious state of life. So that evolution has to happen by engaging in devotional service. Otherwise, depending upon the consciousness, the divinity keeps wandering in this world only. So when the consciousness is not fully purified, the divinity has to go to hell, heaven, so many places. So Sarga, Pavarga, all that different places, the divinity has to travel, keeps wandering. And then he says that the word Tirashcham refers to degraded life. Human life, of course, provides an opportunity for the best living conditions. The monkeys come to the human beings, people, Western people, they think, were more comfortably situated. However, if one does not utilize this human form for Swarga or Apavarga, he falls again to the degraded lives of animals like dogs and hogs. So therefore, a sane human being must consider, therefore, he will elevate himself to the higher planets, prepare himself to free from this evolutionary process in higher and lower grades of life. If one works piously, one may be elevated to the higher planetary systems and returns back home to Godhead. But otherwise, one may be degraded to life as a dog, hog, and so on. So one thing is that the living entity cannot escape the material nature, the laws of material nature. So he has to either go down or up because the material nature forces the jiva that way. So by aligning with Lord, by aligning with the teachings given in the Vedic scriptures, the divinity can actually elevate himself. So that possible that is there for the divinity. That opportunity is there, and of course, Prabhupada has said that we have to aim for going to spiritual world. So some divinities may want to align with the Vedic authority, and they may want to get elevated to heavenly planet. But even that is also futile. That is what Krishna says, that even if somebody attains the higher planetary system, but again he has to come back. So Brahma Bhuvanaruka Punaravartin Arjuna. Again he has to come back, and Chine Punya, Chine Punya Martilokam Vishanti. So again he has to come back when his past grades are over. So there is no point in actually getting elevated to higher planets also. Prabhupada has told that. So ultimately one has to come out only. And the only way one can come out is by taking shelter of this Krishna consciousness movement, by taking shelter of a bona fide acharya, like that. So there is a nice verse also, he says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, says, Kama Krodera Das Haya Tar Lati Khai, Bhramite Bhramite Kona Sadhu Vadipai. The spiritual master is compared to Sadhu. Sadhu means, the Vaidya. Vaidya means the one who is who can cure our disease. Because of that, we are wandering. Bhramite Bhramite. Kama Krodera Das Haya Tar Lati Khai. We are getting so much of beatings of Kama and Krodha, in so many species of life. And then it says Tara Upadesha Mantra, Pishachi Palai. So by the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, by the instructions and the Kara Mantra, also the what the spiritual master will give, the holy name of the Lord, Kara Mantra Upadesha, Pishachi Palai. So the Maya will go away. Krishna Bhakti Pai, Tabe Krishna Nikate Jai. And that's how you get devotional service to the Lord, and that's how we go near to Krishna. So this is the way. The way is that we take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. So that's why you see when Srila Prabhupada came, so then so many living entities, they got that opportunity to go back to Godhead. Because anybody who can take those instructions of a bona fide spiritual master, he becomes fortunate. And by taking those instructions very seriously, one can actually go back to Godhead. Even our Srila Prabhupada also writes that the secret of his success was the same, because he took the instructions of his spiritual master very seriously, like that. So he says about that Vyavasatmika Buddhi verse, Ekakaruna, and that verse he says that the secret of advancement in Krishna consciousness is attitude of others. No, that is also there, but life and soul. To make the instruction of the spiritual master is life and soul, not like that. So when serve the instruction of the spiritual master, then one can actually attain the highest perfection of life. So that is what Krishna consciousness movement is giving us. And Prabhupada has told all the followers in ISKCON movement, in Krishna consciousness movement, that everybody should give the instructions of Krishna, instruction of the bona fide spiritual master. Jare dekho tare kaha, Krishna Padesh. This is what we should do. So when we give the instructions of a bona fide Acharya, the bona fide disciple succession, so that is the actually wonderful fortune of a living entity. Because once he comes in touch with those instructions, and living entity has a choice. He can take up those instructions. Right? I think yesterday only he was saying, about Bhuktan was saying, that it is not that people don't understand. Where are you telling? When you talk about, Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, people can understand.
Yeah, people can understand. You are saying that. So if you give the instruction,
that's the problem. They understand.
They understand it, correct. So if you tell them about chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what is Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Like when you say people chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they may ask sometimes, what do you mean this Hare Krishna Mahamantra? When you explain them, then that makes sense to them. They also understand, that means we have to engage in loving devotional service of the Lord. So it makes sense to them. Many very, very new people also, they may not have heard Krishna. They ask, what is this Krishna? What is this Hare? If you explain them, it makes sense to them. So, and they may chant also. So you can see that. So the Jara Dekho Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh. So this is what is being told. So when we give these instructions to people, then the people have opportunity to take those instructions, and they may take it seriously, and they can go back to God also. So, and you can see also we keep giving the books, and we try to keep telling the people to come to temple and attend the classes. And you see some soul will get stuck by this. I mean, they stick to this wonderful Krishna conscious program. They take it. There are always souls who are they can just stick to the instructions, and then you can see how they become purified and they attain perfection eventually, like that. Like recently, Devrat was saying that they are trying so much distributing books and all that. When Radheshyam Prabhu's program was there, he was telling almost 700 people they had in contact. So they called, so there were around 20 who kind of responded, and then some 6-7 came. So then Radheshyam was really saying that maybe you should change the topic or this and that. But he was saying that how, sometimes jivas are not ready, But there are some souls who are ready. So one boy, they got, so he came, took the classes, and then he started attending Devat Prabhu's classes. And then Devat Prabhu gave him Srimad Bhagavatam. So now he's reading Srimad Bhagavatam first canto. So almost 7 chapters he has completed, like that. So now, out of so many people, some fellow, he took it up seriously. And now he's blossoming like anything. He's sending 16 rounds now. He's going to come. This Friday he's going to come. He has some MIT hackathon. For that he's coming here. So that's why I got to know him. So then I was thinking, reflecting on that, how if any living entity, because it's open for all, but some living entity can, just take it, and then we can see how Krishna consciousness works so powerfully. People can just, you may not imagine sometimes somebody may be chanting 16 rounds and eventually maybe getting initiated, and becoming fully purified and going back to Godhead also. We may not even understand. But it works. It works. If the living deities, they just take it, the instructions, it works. You want to say something?
I mean, it's obvious that it works. Otherwise, how are we here?
Yeah. Yes. So it works. That's why we are here. Correct. So yeah, sometimes we forget that, and we think, no, I don't know whether it will whether it will work or not, because they are very degraded. We may think like that, but we should not think like that, because jivas are open basically. Living entities are always open. They can take it and they can come out of this all precarious situation like that. So this is how we should be feeling that responsibility of giving this message, because who are the people who can give this? Only those who have already received this message, this instruction. They are the people only can give. But if devotees only will keep mum, they won't speak. So then the world will have such great misfortune. So jivas, they need that instruction. So those people who haven't yet come in front of devotee or haven't received the instruction, so they have no option. So they have only default option is to be with Maya only. There is no other option for that person. But if somehow the other some devotee has approached and given him another option, okay, Krishna consciousness is also one option for you, then the jiva may take it. So because that option is there, open now, and if he doesn't take, it's up to him. But he can take also. But at least people in this world should get the option. So this Krishna conscious movement, that's why Prabhupada said, Krishna conscious movement is giving the opportunity. It's the opportunity. You take this opportunity. Understand this Krishna conscious movement and take the opportunity and become serious in Krishna consciousness. So he's saying that our Krishna consciousness movement is therefore the highest movement for the benediction of human society, because this movement is teaching people how to go back home, back to God. In Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that different forms of life are obtained by association with three modes of material nature. The Prabhupada explains that how the material nature with three modes is making the jiva to go in different species of life. Karanam guna sangasya sad asad yoni janmishu. So having human form of life is rare, and the purpose of human form of life is to attain the highest perfection of life. And Krishna conscious movement is meant for that purpose. That means the only duty is to come to Krishna conscious movement after you get the human form of life. That's the only thing one should get. So that means after somebody has got human form of life, the very next thing should happen is some devotee should go and introduce them to Krishna consciousness, because that's the opportunity to go back to God. So the way that living entity gets the opportunity to go back to God, like that. And if the living entity does not take that opportunity, that's the greatest misfortune. So I would sometimes think that how Srila Prabhupada came, and there's so many living entities got introduced to Krishna conscious movement. But there are many people who don't know about this wonderful movement, and they have lived their life even while Prabhupada was on the planet, or while the Krishna conscious movement is going on, and they haven't, somehow the other they did not, got much introduced. So I just sometimes feel that how much misfortunate situation that is. Somebody who has been in this era and not getting introduced to Krishna conscious movement. So I mean, this is a responsibility of all of ours that we take that seriously and give this message to others. Bharat Bhumite Manushya Janma Jar Janma Sathak Kari Karo Paropakar. So Prabhupada is saying the lecture that how every human being, every human being who has taken birth in the land of Bharatavarsha, he has to perfect his life, and and he is not just have to perfect his life. He has to also give this message to all over the world like that. So sometimes you find that many Indians, many universities, coming, and then you give a lecture there, and after you give the lecture, then they will talk about whether really God exists or not. I don't believe, I'm an atheist. So it's a misfortunate situation. You have taken birth in the land of Bharata, and you have come to the Western land. Your main duty was to actually perfect your life and preach this message. And here you are confused, not knowing whether your body or soul or goal of life, nothing known. So it is actually completely defeating the purpose, the very purpose of having a birth in land of Bharatavarsha. and so that's why only Krishna consciousness movement is the only hope for the people, because that only makes the people, um, in a sense, truly responsible in what purpose they have in this world. When somebody is taken birth in land of Bharata, then his main duty is to actually perfect his life and spread this message all over the world. And Srila Prabhupada has not even just limited it for Bharatavarsha, meaning in a sense, Bharatavarsha was actually the whole planet Earth, actually. So that way the responsibility is for everyone. So he has given the responsibility to each and every devotee, each and every one who has taken, who has got this human form of life, should actually perfect his life and spread this message all over the world. So Prabhupada says that cats and dogs cannot do it. No, they cannot. They don't have that. But human beings, at least. Prabhupada did not just say Bharatvarsha, he said that every human being should actually take this Krishna consciousness and spread all over the world. So that is the duty of every human being, like that. So we know today is this appearance day of Shiva's Thakur, appearance day. Okay. Appearance day of Shiva's Thakur. So we know that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shiva's Thakur, so they all would have such glorious Sankirtan. In Shiva's Argan, it's a very famous place. It's also not different from Rasa Sthali. So that is eternal pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going on in Gambhira, and Shiva's Thakur is one of the Panchatattva. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So, and his pure devotion to the Lord is so exemplified when we seen that when there was such ecstatic kirtan going on in Shiva's Argan, and then Shiva's Thakur, his son died. When his son died, then when there was some kind of sound coming, and Shiva's Thakur checked and he understood his son left his body. Then he told you, please, don't cry because it will disturb Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's wonderful kirtan. And then kirtan was going on. And then eventually Mahaprabhu felt some kind of, there is something, but because of that, they're not feeling the same ecstasy like before. There's some problem, something is there. And then he found out that actually Shiva's Thakur's son has died, like that. And that was so much, heart melting for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Shiva's Thakur was so much concerned about, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy, that all the devotees he's performing such wonderful kirtan, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy should not be, disturbed that way. So this was the mood of Shiva's Thakur, and he was ready to, forego the personal pain, the inconvenience of it. It's not at all ordinary, someone's son dying. What kind of pain any father will feel? But he was not concerned about that. He was simply concerned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy should continue. So that kind of another devotion he had, that he was simply focused, simply existing for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and wanting to see how ecstasy should increase, like that. So I was reflecting that this mood, of Shiva's Thakur, that just wanting to see the ecstasy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without considering our own pains and pleasures. So if we can also learn, we can also imbibe that mood. We simply want to see the ecstasy of Srila Prabhupada increasing more and more, without considering our own conveniences, inconveniences, what we may be facing. So just by being in this moment and sticking to this moment, sticking to this association of devotees, and doing our daily duties in Krishna consciousness, actually we are making Prabhupada ecstatic more and more. And Srila Prabhupada understands our struggles. All of us are struggling because we are all recruited from this material world. The struggles are there. Our mind creates so much of problem. Body creates so much of problem. All this will continue. But sticking to this moment and continuing our journey in Krishna consciousness makes Prabhupada ecstatic. That brings ecstasy to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when we are sticking to this moment, then we will also serve this moment by helping others also to come to this Krishna consciousness. That will ecstasy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will increase more and more. So this is what Shiva's Thakur's mood is, that he wants to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ecstatic more and more. And more people will actually join the eternal Rasa Leela of the Lord, the eternal pastimes of the Lord. Just by being in this Krishna consciousness movement, we will actually contribute in helping many jivas to actually join the eternal pastime of the Lord. And that way, helping the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ecstasy increase more and more, like that. So, as well as Radhanath Swami Maharaj once he was saying that So senior devotee was saying that, please see that how all these devotees are joined, that time brahmacharya ashram, that they should, get all kinds of care so that they can be happily going on, in this wonderful Krishna consciousness program. And then he told you one more point. He said that please see whatever problems their mind may create. Please see that they're also addressed. They're also taken care. So that means the mind and body will have struggles with, for sure. But the glory of a devotee is that he sticks to the process. He sticks to the wonderful association of devotees. And that is one thing which makes big difference, because there are people who may come and go, but a devotee who sticks to the process is something very glorious. So it does. Yes, a devotee may have many issues, and we may have struggles and difficulties, but we are sticking to this process and going on this Krishna consciousness. So that is glorious. That is a wonderful glory about that devotee. So every devotee who continues the process, anyone who has come also is glorious, but the one who has been continuing is much more glorious, because he's actually making Prabhupada ecstatic. So Prabhupada, one of the section Prabhupada was that never leaves con. So why? Because that is the only hope for the jiva to go back to Godhead. I mean, that jiva is going back to Godhead, then there's so many people else also have that opportunity through that, because that person will do some devotional service, he will distribute some books, he will chant Hare Krishna. There are many other jivas who will also get benefited by that. So we can continue. We pray to Srivas Thakur today that we also get strength to imbibe that mood, to also have that mood and strength to continue our devotional service, and have that mood to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please our spiritual master, by sticking to this wonderful program of Krishna consciousness. Because my spiritual master was saying one day that how the one of the greatest service what we can do to our spiritual master is to receive what they are giving. So what Srila Prabhupada has given, what our spiritual master are giving, if we can receive that very sincerely, that's one of the very wonderful service we are doing. Like that. It's the greatest service. So what blessings we are getting, what opportunity we are getting, if we take it seriously, that makes them very happy. Like Prabhupada was saying that all of you, disciples, you are helping me so much. I'm so grateful to you. And Prabhupada was crying tears and saying that you are helping me so much to please my spiritual master. So I'm very, very grateful to you. So if somebody, just does some contribution in this wonderful, glorious mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all acharyas are so pleased, actually. And so we can just pray that we continue doing that and keep improving our quality of services, and keep blossoming in our consciousness, and keep making all the acharyas and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ecstatic more and more. So let's pause here. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Bhagavatam. Vikram, any comment? You could understand 20%, 30%.
Pretty good.
I was conscious
No,
about.
no, he has habituated to hear.
No. He always sends me messages. 40%, 30%.
2.5 classes.
70, 80%.
72.
Very bored.
I'm gonna say if 1 out of 700 people become furious,
Yeah.
that's better odds than Krishna gives in the
Honestly.
Gita.
Manushya naam sarvasya.
1 out of many, many thousands might be interested. Out of any everyone.
Correct.
1 out of 700 isn't too bad.
Yes. Yes.